Commission for having me here. Good afternoon to everyone. I am Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and I am running for U.S. Congressional District 22 on the Republican ticket. I stand here before you today coming from a lifetime of service. 4 generations, I'm the third of those 4 generations. And each and every one of those generations served in a combat zone. Starting with my father in World War II, my brother in Vietnam, myself with 22 years in 3 different combat zones, and my nephew, who was a captain following my footsteps, who has already been deployed to Afghanistan twice. And why do I say that? Because I think it's important to understand there comes a time when you realize that the oath that you take as an officer to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same, does not end when you retire. You may take off your fatigues, you may take off your boots, but you put on a suit and tie, you continue to do what it does to protect the life, the liberty, and the property, as Locke and Hobbes said, the pursuit of happiness of the American people. That is why today, when I started off this morning at 8 o'clock and I had a meeting with the Deerfield Beach Chamber of Commerce, people understand one simple thing. We're in a new fiscal year. And in that new fiscal year, there's so much financial uncertainty and unpredictability that we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what the tax rates will be. Because unfortunately, I think people in Washington, D.C. don't understand that small business owners operate from a personal income tax rate level. And if they don't extend those tax cuts for them, then those small businessmen are looking at 4 to 5% increase in their tax rates and their taxes. But it's not just that. It's also the fact that capital gains tax may increase. Dividends tax will increase. And many of the seniors here are living on dividends. But it's also the fact that the death tax will come back. And how does that affect the legacy that we pass on to our subsequent generations? It is also the marriage tax credit will go away. Child tax credit get cut in half. Alternative minimum tax population grows from 4 million to 28 million. Here in South Florida, we face a very serious crisis. 13% unemployment. 14.4% in Miami-Dade County, 10.7% in Broward, and 12.3% in Palm Beach County. If we are going to stimulate our economy, it comes from the growth of jobs in the private sector, not the public sector. Because as they continue to build in Washington, D.C., we're not building and we're not growing down here on Main Street. And I want to tell you in closing, my commitment to you is that we will restore honor, integrity, and character to the political process that you see before you and in Washington, D.C.
30 seconds.
And you will never have to be concerned about me doing something as heinous and nefarious as my opponent did when he published my Social Security number, my wife's employment identification number in the mail that went out to tens of thousands of homes in South Florida. That is not what I think the American people want. I don't think it's about destroying an individual and his family. I think it's about doing what's best to protect you, the American people, and the people of Congressional District 22. Thank you.
What I'll do, I'll keep the questions limited to 1 minute, but we'll add 1 or 2 more questions because when Congressman Blind was up here, he was happy. Okay, who wants to start?
As I understand it, most of your life has been in public service. You've been in the Army. While you were in the Army, which we thank you for, you were covered by health care and you were acquiring a pension. Now that you've retired, you still have that comfort zone. Why is it that you want to dismantle the health care bill and Social Security?
Well, I think, first of all, one of the things you have to realize is that I have never said anything about dismantling Social Security. As a matter of fact, the Miami Herald did a fact-check piece on what my opponent claimed, and it came out absolutely false. I don't know why the Florida Democrat Party and Congressman Klein continues to want to say I want to get rid of Social Security, because I don't want to. I think the most important thing with Social Security is that the politicians you've had in Washington, D.C., took it out of the independent trust fund account, put it in the general operating account, and they used it for their own pork barrel spending. Now, as well as you want to talk about